everybody. So, I think, yeah. So today we are actually having author Janae Harden on, and I'm really excited to talk to her about writing, about how it is being an author. I know she's very successful in the indie author world. At least that's what I have gathered. Um, and I'm just really excited to talk to her. So, um, let's see. We're going to see if we can invite her in. It's only a minute, so we're gonna see if we can invite her in. I know this thing sometimes acts weird, but I'm gonna try to do it anyway. Yes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm really excited to speak to her. She has a new book that came out recently called 42 Minutes, I believe. If I'm wrong, please forgive me. It's like 42 minutes. Um, but yeah, we're gonna just wait until she gets in here and talk to her. But I hope y'all are having a good day today. Um, my day has been going pretty good. Recently moved, so it's been a lot of unpacking, a lot of trying to get stuff together. So it's been pretty good though. Um, we're gonna just wait until she comes in. Let's see, oh, unable to join. Let me see. Again, getting this thing together is so like confusing. Here we go. Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's
Awesome.
nice to meet you.
You too. You look so beautiful. Oh my
Thank
goodness.
you. You do too.
Thank you.
So, I know like usually when I do these, because it's only an hour, the hour go by so fast, so I don't want to like hold on to anything. How was your day?
It was good. It was good. I had lunch with
Good,
my
good,
mom. Yeah, but it was good. Nice and
good,
relaxing.
good. All right, so I want to just jump right in on the questions that I have for you.
Okay.
Um, and let me see, they're all on my computer, so it's a lot going on here. But just if you don't mind, just telling us a little bit about yourself, who you are, how long you've been writing, your recent novel that just came out this year. So just
Okay.
give us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name is Janae Harden. I'm from South Jersey, Southern New Jersey.
Mhm.
I am a school social worker. I'm a therapist. I am in private practice for mental health counseling.
Mhm.
Of course, I'm an author. I've published two fictional novels last year, and with many more in the works. And I'm a wife. I'm a mom. So I'm a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Very busy. So since you are all of those things, right? How do you fit in writing? How is that? How do you do that? Because
You
I'm
know,
always like amazed
yeah.
at like how people can have literally a full life and then still write.
You know what? I'm very amazed too, and I'm very much like taking tips and taking things that other authors say,
Mhm.
and I'm always trying to tweak what I do just so it can fit in my life in a way that's not taking it over.
Right.
But right now, I try to just treat it as very much a part-time job. It's not a hobby. It's not something that I do just for fun, even though it is fun. But I really try to build it into my day just like I would a regular part-time job. So
Right.
it's, you know, waking up earlier, if it's staying, you know, up a little bit later. But, you know, my max that I try to write in a day really is just 1,500 words. And that's, again, that's doable for me. You know, other people it might be more, other people it might be less, but you know, for me it comes down to the math. Like I can bust out 1,500 words a day, you know, 6 days a week, you know, maybe with one day off, and then, you know, 2 3 months I have, you know, a 50K novel, and then, you know, I'm done.
Yeah. I find that to be amazing. I really do because
Really?
I'm lucky if I get 800 words a day.
Okay.
I'm lucky. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and she is very demanding of time,
Hmm.
and it's you know, so maybe it's just time management. I know everybody has different time management, so
Yeah.
I find that to be very amazing that you actually can do 1,500 words a day.
Thank you know what, I actually thought it was like not a lot. Like I, you know, I'm following other authors and they're like, you know, 3,000 words, and I'm like, oh my
Right,
goodness, you know. So
right.
but that's my sweet spot. That's my sweet spot, 1,500, you know. And I really don't try to go over that, only because, again, like I don't want to burn myself out. I don't want to be like binge writing and then,
Mhm.
you know, the next couple of days, you know, I'm exhausted because I've spent the other couple of days writing like a maniac. So I really try to pace myself, and then that's that.
Right, right. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Um, Let me see. So, what inspired you to become a writer?
You know, I think like a lot of people, you know, I was sitting home bored during COVID,
Mhm.
you know, and actually authoring and writing and reading, and that had always been a part of my life anyway. You know, I was an avid reader as a kid, and then when I was in high school, I was the editor of my high school newspaper. So, and me being a social worker now, like all I do is write, you know, mental health evaluations and assessments and reports and stuff. So I think I've gotten used to writing, you know, lengthy, you know, paragraphs and chapters and things like that. Like I'm kind of used to that.
Right.
But what was new to me was creative writing, you know, and making a story and characters and all those things. So that's still very much, you know, something that, you know, I'm learning myself, and I'm, you know, building, and, you know, definitely taking pointers from everyone. But pretty much, you know, it was just me sitting back, you know, with COVID, and, you know, these characters, these people just wouldn't leave me alone. But and they really did, like, you know, and I just felt like there was just this story to tell. And actually my first novel, Hey Brown Girl, it started out as very much like a COVID, like a children's book, you know, don't forget to wear your mask sort of thing. And you know,
Mhm.
just kind of something cute that I wanted to write, but like the story just developed into
Right.
so much more, so it doesn't even, you know, look like what I had first intended for it to look like, which of course, you know, happens with writing. But
Right.
yeah, it just kind of took on, you know, a mind of its own.
Right. That's amazing. I know, it seems like COVID really propelled a lot of people into
Yeah.
like at least if you're creative, it propelled a lot of people into doing what their creative self really like wants to do.
Yep.
Because it was nothing to do. It was like literally nothing to do.
Literally.
Sit at home
Literally.
all day. Especially like that those first like 2 3 months, it was nothing. Like
You know,
couldn't do
and for
anything.
a while it was like, you know, nobody go outside, close the blinds, close the doors, like, you know, keep it
Right.
doing, like nobody could do anything for like, yeah, for like a
Right.
couple months or so.
Hmm.
And I just think that is so beautiful how people have been able to, you know, get back to their passions and get back to,
Hmm.
you know, their creativity and doing things that, you know, they maybe did when they were younger, but of course life got in the way. Now you have to make money and work, you know, the real jobs, and you know,
Hmm.
all of those things. So now for people to actually, you know, have the time and the opportunity to go back and do those things that they love, you know,
Right.
I think it's such a beautiful thing, and it's really been, you know, changing the world, as we can see.
Yeah.
Like there's so many more business owners and, you know,
It is.
people just doing things. Like it's just so beautiful to see.
Yes, it really is. And since you are a social worker, um, do you find that you probably use a lot of the things that you experience as a social worker, or like the stories that you see as sort of as inspiration for the stories that you write?
Most definitely, most definitely. I think I have a strong voice writing mental health issues, you know, anxiety, depression, and all of those things. And also, right now, my voice is in the young adult genre, and you know, I have spent most of my career, you know, working with teens and children and families and stuff like that. So
Right.
I really enjoy telling, you know, stories of, you know, Black family members and, you know, experiencing mental health issues and, you know, just different things that all of that entails. So,
Right.
so definitely, you know, of course, there's never going to be like anything specific from, you know, something that I've, you know, seen with a family or a kid or something like that. But, you know, it's definitely all, you know, material. So,
Right. Right, in one way or another, right?
yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah, so that is something that's very interesting because I have my master's in applied psychology,
Okay, shout
and
out to
I
you.
yeah, thank you. So like I know like that's one of the things I haven't worked with anybody personally, but that's one of the things that I do want to try and at least incorporate in my writing is mental
Yeah,
health
yeah,
because it's like once you know something like how can you not
right.
write about it, you know?
Exactly.
So yeah, I find that to be very, very cool that, you know, you can find that kind of like a balance in between mental health and like the creative writing stuff. Do you like, I know like, because you know the stereotypes of like how people might see certain people with mental disorders or mental health issues. Do you see that, man, I forgot what I'm going like it's the stereotypes that they have. Do you see that you might be able to like make light of situations, or do you want to just keep your what you write about like as far as mental health? Do you want to keep that strictly like, you know, we're not going to joke about this, or are you okay with like having the stereotypes in there to like just kind of put a different perspective on things?
That is something that I go back and forth with a lot, you know, because I do want to be respectful of you know, certain mental health issues, and you know, I don't
Mhm.
want to play into the stereotypes, but you know, I do want to have, you know, creative leeway and you know, kind of write things a certain way, and you know, maybe
Mhm.
portray a scene a certain way.
Mhm.
But if I do that, you know, that's definitely because it's something that I've seen personally. You know, it's
Right.
not something that you know, I've like never, you know, experienced. And it's just like something that just, you know, kind of popped into my head. Like it's definitely something that I've seen myself, I've experienced myself, you know, I'm working one-on-one with someone. And so, you know, I might have seen something, I don't know, that was on like a 3, but when I wrote about it, it was on like a 7 or like an 8 or something, you know?
Right.
So yeah, I think, you know, with some things I have taken creative leeway with, and you know, but I still try to be, you know, respectful, and then also just kind of bring it back to my point, which is, okay, how does this affect the family? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
how does this affect, you know, my main character, you know, and how does this affect, you know, the life that they're trying to live, they're trying to create, like whatever the goal is, you know, I always try to bring it back to that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense because I know sometimes people can just write stuff and it's completely like,
Yeah.
okay, now you could have said that differently.
Yep.
So, have you I'm sorry. Okay. So, are you more of a pantser or a pantser or a planner? Because I know personally, it's like a mixture, but I
Okay.
like to just kind of write and just figure out where it's going to go. So, what would you describe yourself as?
I am a hardcore plotter. You know,
Mhm.
I definitely plot out. Well, you know what? Let me say this. Okay. So my first book, Hey Brown Girl, I pants the whole thing. I literally sat like, you ever seen that meme with the cat and they're like, that is literally how I was for like a month. Like I just sat like a mad woman just writing this story. And then when I handed it to my editor, I was like, you know, here, and you know, and I didn't even know like what editor I needed at the time and like how that
Right.
whole thing. So when I found one and I handed it was in shambles. Like it really was a mess. But what I found was, you know, it was taking me so much longer to do the edits and read through everything and do those corrections when I pantsed it
Mm-hmm.
versus when I actually sat down and I plotted like each chapter. I plotted characters.
Right.
I plotted, all of their backstories, all of their family's backstory, like everything down to a T. And then I would sit down and write. It would make corrections a little bit more manageable because they're never easy. So I'll say manageable, but
Right.
it made it a little bit easier for me to run through. And my editor noticed the big difference too. So she had asked
Right.
about it, and I said, well, this time I did plot it. So I think for me, that's something I will continue to do just because like I hate editing. Like I can't stand it. It's the
And
worst.
that's funny because that was another question I was going to ask you. Like, what is your least favorite part about the whole writing process, the whole publishing process, and the your most favorite part about it?
Definitely editing. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely editing. I try to make sure I do a developmental edit. And for anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's basically right after you write the book. It's still very much in draft stage, and then you send it to an editor and they look at everything as far as like like the a larger picture, like what story you're trying to tell, if it makes sense, if there's any inconsistencies, plot holes, things like that.
Right.
So, I try to always send it to her, to my editor when I need that done. And when it comes back to me, like sometimes there's like 20 pages of corrections.
Oh wow.
Which is a good thing,
Yeah.
because it makes my writing stronger. It makes my story stronger. But when I get it back, and I see all red and everything, and I just be like,
Right.
what is this writing thing all about?
Right.
But
Right.
so that is my least favorite part.
Mm.
Um and I think my favorite, but this is probably going to sound corny, but I think my favorite part is when I get my book cover back. When I actually see the cover, like when I,
Yeah.
I talk to my designer and I say, this is what I'm thinking, and we're going back and forth about, what I want it to look like, and then they finally say, well, here it is, this is your cover, and I'm just like blown away, and I'm like,
Right.
I cannot believe that, I wrote this and, it's turned into this. So for me,
Right.
it's such like a surreal feeling.
Right. Yeah, I definitely know that when you first get that cover back and everything, it's like, oh my gosh. I know personally, I created my cover.
Okay.
So, like, I saw it, but once I was done and I put it on the self-publishing thing, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh wow, like this is
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
And then you get that the proof book
Yes.
back.
Yep. That too.
Yeah. And it's like
It's
it
such
just
like a
comes from
surreal
just an
feeling.
idea. Yeah, it is. It is. Dear V Love Me, she said, but 20 pages can be daunting too. It could be daunting. It definitely, definitely daunting. But it's like you know that they're there to help you. So
Right.
it's like,
Right.
it's not really a big problem because at least you can fix it. At least
Yeah.
it didn't get out into the world
Yeah.
with
Exactly.
20 pages
Exactly.
of correction.
Yep, yep, yep. And I know, sometimes with authors, they're like, I wrote this book, let me just send it for, a proofread and I'm done. And, there's so many other steps that are in between it that can
Right.
strengthen it. And,
Mm.
for me, because I write so fast and because I'm writing, every single day, I want that second set of eyes. So for me, that developmental edit is, invaluable. Like I have to have it just because, like I said, I'm writing so fast and, I'm plotting and, I'm missing things. So,
Right.
that's always like the first line of defense. Like, let me send this for this edit and let me get these 20 pages back and
Right.
work my way through them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good thing. I don't think because I don't think I've heard a lot of people doing the developmental edits. Like they go through all the way until they just get like the grammar and like stuff
Yeah,
like that. But the
yeah,
developmental edit that's definitely I can see that being really helpful
yeah,
to
yeah,
make your book
definitely.
just that much better.
Yep.
Yeah. So when you because I don't know if we said anything about it. I don't think we did about writer's block. So you said that you plot everything. Do
Hmm.
you feel like you have writer's block or that you get writer's block as often as you would if you didn't plot everything, or is writer's block the same even when you're plotting?
When I pantsed it, I did get writer's block.
Mm-hmm.
And and that would give me anxiety, like literally just sitting there staring at my computer staring back at me. And
Right.
and it like that even gave me anxiety. But so when I started plotting it, the writer's block, it wasn't as bad. And I would even go as far to say as I didn't have it when I plotted it, only because I would always go into it knowing what I was writing because I had already plotted it out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like from prologue all the way down to very last chapter, like I already knew
Mhm.
what it was that I was going to write. So by the time I sat down to write it, I already knew, like, all right, I need to hit these plot points, I need to hit this, this is the
Right.
conversation. So then I could just kind of work on building it. But I do find it a little bit easier to manage writer's block with plotting it out first.
Right. Yeah, and I can see that making a lot of sense and stuff. And I just find it to be funny that I cannot do that. Like I feel
Really?
like writer's block is my norm. Like I feel like it's
Okay.
my norm. And then like I have moments of, okay, write this, write this, write this, and you
Mm-hmm.
spit out like
Mm-hmm.
5 to 10 chapters, and then
Mm-hmm.
writer's block for a good 2 months, and then here's more. It's like it's like what, like where people would have writer's block is where I
Yeah.
have my like just writing everything, and then where
Okay.
people's normally just writing, I'm like
See,
I don't.
that's what I can't do. Like, I cannot sit down and write 5, 6 chapters at a time. Like, I will be like crawling to bed, and then I won't be able to write for days at a time. Like, I
Right,
wouldn't be able to do it.
right, right. I just find it amazing how like everybody has their own like way
They
of
do.
doing
They
things,
do.
but it's like we all get to the same ending pretty much.
Hmm. Right.
But I did look up your books on Amazon. I looked them up,
Okay.
right? And I saw so many of the reviews on there. And I'm like, oh my God, like I have to buy it now because I'm like, everybody's talking about this. Especially I know Hey Brown Girl, but it's 42 minutes, right?
Correct.
Make
Yep.
sure 42 minutes. I love for one, I love both of the covers for
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
They are
Thank
so nice.
you.
Did you get the same artist to do both of those or?
No, they are two different artists,
Mhm.
but yeah, I just love them. Like, I really just find myself like looking at them, and again, like, it's just that surreal feeling of like I created this. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's great. It's great.
So how did you talk to the people when you actually like got that done? When you got the when was that an idea in your head, or did you just tell them to like, hey, do this, and like, you do your artistic.
So with the actually, yeah, let me with the first one, with this one. So this is my first book, Hey Brown Girl. With this one, it ties in directly with the book because in the book, they're in like a club. It's a girl and a group of her friends, and they wear jackets that say the Brown Girls Club.
Right.
So for that one, I wanted to just kind of keep that theme going
Hmm.
with that cover. And then with 42 minutes, it was a different designer, and we had gone back and forth for a couple of days. And I wanted specific things, like I wanted, actually, here's the second one, sorry.
Yes.
I wanted specific things. I was like, braids is big in the book. We talk a lot about her hair and her edges and different little things. And I said that she's got some mental health issues, so there's like two different sides to her. So
Mhm.
I told him a couple of little things, but he really took the creative leeway with it, and this is what he came up with, like, right out of the box. Like, there wasn't a lot of back and forth that we had to do. and
Yeah.
and to me, that's great because you get my concept, you get what it is that I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to do, and
Mhm.
to kind of put it in this artistic picture like that without me having to go back and forth like that. That's great to me.
Right. Right. I love it. Like those two, I'm like, oh my goodness. And they don't look like, for a moment I'm like, is she traditionally published? Because it's like you don't really find you don't really find like the covers of indie authors to be that professional. Like, it's like they
Right.
look nice. Even I look at my own and I'm like, okay, I could do better than this.
No, no, no.
But
Yours are nice. Yours, I no, yours are nice. Don't
thank
even
you.
say that. Yours are very nice. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I'm
Heaven
like,
can, heaven can
I'm
wait
really
is
looking to
beautiful.
see. Thank you. I'm really looking to see if I can get somebody else to do it because I think it kind of messes with me too, because I'm like, all right, I look at this, I look at it, and you start picking things apart. It's
Of
just like
course, of course.
when when you're writing and stuff, you pick things apart, and it's like, oh, and that's why by the time you're done with your book, well, at least I hated my book once I was done with it. I'm like, I don't like this book anymore, but it's done, it's over
Yeah,
with.
yeah,
So,
yep, yep.
but it's the same thing with like the art, and I love like those covers. I know when I would see them on my feed and stuff, I'm like, oh my God, they're all amazing.
Thank you.
But so we talked about writer's block and everything, and the reviews. So how do you handle negative reviews? Because I know everybody, you love the positive reviews and everything, but how do you handle those negative reviews, or even because I'm not even going to talk about the ratings when they don't even say anything. Like they just
Yeah,
rate
yeah,
it, and it's like, okay, you're just a hater. You probably didn't even buy the book. So, how do
yeah.
you handle the negative actual reviews where they say what they don't like about it, or have criticism about
Oh, girl.
it?
You know, I have a very strong support system. I will say that because when I sent Hey Brown Girl out, for different ARC readers and stuff, and a couple of the reviews that I got back were like they were, I think now looking back on it, they were like, typical, picking out things they didn't like. But to me, because, I was new to this and I was new to publishing and writing and everything, to me, I felt like they were scathing.
Right.
And really was like, all right, well, let me, pack up, put my laptop away. Like, I'm never doing this again. And I was very serious about like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. So, it really took my support system, and it really took, I have great friends and, people around me that were like, you're tripping. This is what happens. I'm in many different writing groups on Facebook, and, I was conversing with different authors about it, and everybody's like, that's your first one, psh, get used to it. They're coming. And I'm like, get used to this. Like,
Right.
people coming at my neck about this book. But again, that's because I was taking it personal. I was
Right.
taking it very personal. I thought it was a personal attack on me, which none of that was. But,
Mhm.
Book Talk, Black Bookstagram and all those, like they can come in and they can go hard when they want to.
Right.
But again, it took me, to develop that tougher skin, and also to separate the writing from me personally, and, continue to know that, I'm doing what I love.
Yeah.
And for that one review that someone didn't like the book, there's 10 other ones that are singing its praises. So
Right.
why am I going to let that one negate all the other 10 that are great? And let me just take what applies from this negative review, because sometimes things are applicable. One of my negative reviews said that the book wasn't edited well, and that really stung me a little bit. And after that, like, I became a maniac about making sure like things were edited, and I
Right.
had more than one editor to go to check different work and check different things. But again, I took what applied, which at that particular time it did, and I just tried to incorporate it later on into my writing in a different way. So this is very much ongoing. I could definitely be crying over a review, come next week or something. I don't know. We'll see. But but it's hard. It's very hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I can only imagine getting that, especially that first one. And it's like, okay, what? Like, it's like, this is
Yeah.
our baby. Like, we put so much work and so
Yep.
much effort and time and tears and everything into making this happen. And
Yep.
then I just wonder, like, because you never know who those people are. So it's like,
Yeah.
I just wonder, like, have you ever done anything like this? Like,
Right.
I haven't gotten any bad reviews on my book yet.
Good. Good.
I already know it's in the years to come, and the books that I'm going to write, that it's going to be bad reviews. But I've seen on other other authors Amazon pages, and like just look and check the reviews and
Yeah.
everything, and I just see that a lot of people are just haters. Like, a lot of them are haters, and a lot of them, they are just giving like real criticism, like a constructive
Yeah.
criticism, and you can tell the ones is the ones that say like, oh, I love this author, but
But
this book, and it's like, okay, I can handle that. But when you
yeah.
just like, oh, the whole thing was terrible, I don't believe it. Like, You were triggered, weren't you?
Yep, yeah, definitely. Yes, yes,
You.
very triggering.
It's like, okay, you can calm down a little bit. If you didn't like it, just put it down and move on. But yeah, I can only imagine how it is getting that, like, especially that first bad review, and probably the second one and third one, but like that first one is like,
Yep,
what?
yep, definitely.
Yes, and I think that's one of the things that I mean all authors, because I look at my favorite authors are like Terry the big ones, like the Terry
Of course.
McMillan, and
Yeah.
I love Kimberla, and Eric Jerome Dickey. I'm reading one of his books right now,
You know what?
and
He's
like,
my absolute favorite. Like, yeah, he reigns supreme for me. And, you know,
yes,
all else. Like, you know, I grew up, and even though I shouldn't have been growing up reading his books, but but I definitely grew up, you know, reading Eric Jerome Dickey. You know,
right,
things like hiding under the cover, you know, supposed to be sleeping, reading this
right,
book. But they just really spoke to me in such a way that made me feel like, wow, like if I could write something like this and I could, you know, touch people the way this book has touched me at like, you know, 12, 13, 14.
right,
Like, you know, that is such an amazing feeling. And you know, I really sought out to, you know, write like Eric Jerome Dickey. And, you know, I even wanted to, you know, I was one of those like super fans, like I wanted to meet him and reach out to him.
right.
But of course, like once I decided, you know, finally that I was going to write, unfortunately, that's when he had like passed away. And,
Mhm.
you know, it really was just so impactful to me, like how much his work had really, you know, just brought out so much of mine.
Right, right, yes, and he's just gone too soon.
Yeah.
Gone too soon.
Yeah.
But it's I feel like, well, he was sick, so like I feel like he knew. And
Hmm.
that last book, I still have to get it. I still haven't bought it yet. But the
Hmm.
last book,
What's the last one called? I don't even remember.
it's something. It starts with the S, or Solomon, something like that. I
Songs
can't.
of Solomon. That's what it
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Songs of
yeah. Is
Solomon, or
it
no, the son of Solomon, right?
Son? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it.
Son of Solomon. All right, okay.
Yeah. That I'm like, I have to read it. I have to read it. I haven't.
Yeah.
I've been trying. Literally, I was at Target today. And I was about to pick up a book, and I'm like, okay, no, I'm gonna put it back down. And then I went back to it, like, it's only $13. But I put it back down. I'm like, no, I need to read the book that I have
Right?
before I start buying other ones.
Yes, yes,
But
all the time.
yeah, but it's like you look at them and you see their bad reviews and everything, and it's like, y'all just stop.
Yeah.
Like,
And
it's
that's what I
it
think
just
too. Like some of the biggest authors, you know, have these bad reviews, and you know,
right,
people same thing. Like they go in on them. Like some of the biggest people. Like you know, have you ever taken a look at Sister Soldier's page for her late? Like they
my
flame
goodness.
her over
My
that book, and I'm like, if they flaming her, and I'm upset about this one little, you know, bad review.
right,
I'm Gucci. I'm good. I'm good.
right. I don't think you made it as an author until you get a bad review. I don't
Yeah.
think you like it, when you get those bad reviews. I think it's like, okay, you're good now, because you don't have that just 5 stars on there anymore. It's like 4.5
Hmm.
now. So it's like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm good. Like,
Yep. I'm legit. I'm
I'm waiting.
legit.
I'm waiting for those bad reviews. But I'm like, listen, okay.
Right.
But yeah, I think definitely when you have like the bad reviews, you made it. You made it because you have enough
Hmm.
people reading your stuff that isn't just family and friends that are
Hmm.
actually reading your stuff and
Yeah.
actually like saying, "Oh, I don't like this," and they don't mind hurting your feelings because they don't
Right.
know you.
Right. Right. Yep. You're right. You're right. When it's more than family and friends, like you know, like I got something here. You're right.
Right. So as an author, as indie authors and authors, period, I feel like we all have a desire or a dream of what we would want ourselves to be as authors. So, what is your biggest dream? I asked everybody that I think it's been 2 people that I've interviewed so far. So,
Yeah.
what would you consider your biggest dream of being an author?
Definitely for 42 minutes to be a movie.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of the reviews that I've gotten for it have been like, oh my God, like this reads like a Netflix movie or something, or you know, this
right,
like, you know, like a you know, like a series or something, you know, almost like You on Netflix. Like I could definitely see it being something like that. But so that is my biggest goal for that. I'm really trying to manifest that because, you know, I believe that, you know, that can be attainable for myself and for all of us, you know.
Right.
So I'm definitely working towards that. And also I want to continue to write and also battle, you know, that writer's block that we talked about, and just, you know, hopefully the ideas and the creativity and the words and everything just keep being, you know, downloaded through me, and I'm able to share it with the world. So
Right.
you know, I look at different authors who have been writing for, you know, like the Stephen Kings, you know, 10, 20, 30 plus years. And, you know, I aspire to continue to have ideas for that long, and I'm still able to translate it onto, you know, pen and paper and then push it out to the masses. You know, I think that's a beautiful thing too, being able to, you know, just keep it going for that long without saying, all right, I'm done. You know, that was fun. Let me try something else. So the longevity of it. So I am, you know, that's a goal of mine too, to make sure I have longevity in this game.
Yes. So do you ever desire to be like a traditionally published author, or are you okay with being published?
You know what? That's something that I do go back and forth with. Specifically when it comes to, I'm back to the editing, girl. I'm back to this. When it comes to when it comes to the editing piece, and you know, I think about how much money I spend on editors and all of those, and I would be like, dang, like if I was traditionally published, you know, I wouldn't have to worry about that piece of it. You know, they would handle that. But then I think, you know, well, they would probably change up so much of it, and then, you know, I wouldn't be able to call it my same story because they've changed so much. And, you know, what if
Right.
they don't like my covers and we got to change that? And, you know, I just don't want my tone and the way I write and the way I say things to be whittled down so much into something that, you know, isn't even mine anymore.
Right.
So I don't know, you know, right now I'm good with self-publishing, because I do believe that it can take me far if I, you know, just keep on the same trajectory. But you know, catch me in 5 years, I might be like, I'm tired, I'm trying to be traditionally published, you know.
Right.
So we'll see,
Right.
everything changes, we'll see.
Right. And that's the thing with traditionally published too, is like, I don't know, like, because I just wonder how much do they change? You know, like how much do they really change? Because especially if they see that you're doing well as a self-published author, how much can they say, we don't want that. We want you to say it like this when you already
Right,
have
right.
the base. You know, you already have the
Hmm.
people that like your writing, and that's just a little bit. Like you
Yeah.
put it out to more people are gonna like it, more people are gonna buy it. So it's like I really wonder. I'm curious, like how a traditionally published author really has to change and like bend to what the publishing company wants, you know? It's just a thought.
Yeah.
Like I'm
I
curious.
wish there was more information about that. Yeah, like even for the people who start self-published and then they go the traditionally route, you know,
Right.
I just wish there was more of a conversation, like you just said, about how much they change and like what specifically they look at that needs to be changed. And you know, because if it's like maybe I'm making it more than what it is, you know, maybe it's like they go in and they don't change as much, and you know, they try to keep your tone and your voice and all those things, and maybe, you know,
Right.
it is correct that they do go in there and just like rip everything to shreds. I don't know,
Right.
but you know, that is not a conversation that people have a lot, and I'm very
No.
curious about that as well.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to find a traditionally published author and like ask some questions. Hopefully they can like actually give me those answers, because it's like I'm really, really curious about that.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
like how much? Because I can't imagine them. You know, if it's not broken, don't well, it's not broken,
Hmm.
don't fix it. It's
Yeah.
like if it's working, then it's gonna work on a bigger scale. It just has
Hmm.
to get that publicity and that what's it called, promotion,
Right.
you know. But that's just a thought. But should have opened up with this one and ended with the greatest dream. But what is your worst fear of being an author? And I think I'm just thinking that it's like what every author probably fears, but I'm gonna let you answer.
Um, You know what? I think I mentioned it, but you know, for me, it would be just losing that creativity. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like so many other things happening around me that, you know, I'm losing the things that I was doing to keep me writing. Like, you know, right now I'm writing 1,500 words a day, every
Yeah.
day, you know, 6 days a week, mostly, sometimes seven. But you know, I don't want it to get to a point where, you know, I stop doing that and then I fall off with that, and you know, then I just, you know, start putting writing on the back burner, and the next thing you know, like, you know, those intuitive hits and that creativity and like all the downloads that you receive, you know, all the different
Yeah.
ideas and everything, like, you know, stop coming. You know, that
Right.
that really is a fear of mine. But I try to, even when I'm not writing, I try to always, I'm either listening to podcasts about writing, or, you
Mhm.
know, I'm reading different articles, or I'm like scouring, you know, the message boards and different things in Facebook groups, you know, always trying to, you know, become knowledgeable about something. So even if I'm not writing, like I'm still trying to surround myself with that, you know, author
Mhm.
energy. So, you know,
Right.
my mind is always going. I'm always, you know, thinking of, you know, just different ways to improve something, so I can always be better for the next time that, you know, I publish something.
Right. And honestly, I know that that's a fear of yours, but at the same time, if you just think about it, the older that we get, the more knowledge we gain.
Yeah.
And then it's
Yeah.
like, that's why like people like Stephen King and like people who are older in their like 60s, 70s, you can write until the day you die, literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like the more knowledge that you gain, the more wisdom that you gain,
Mhm.
I can only imagine that those ideas just keep on coming. You know, like
Hopefully.
I can't
Yep.
really imagine them just like disappearing. And
Hmm.
especially if you have that now, if you have that gift now to just have those things come to you,
Right.
I can imagine that it's just going to get better. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
as you get older and everything. And that's like one of the things that for me, because I'm still in my 20s and I don't know a lot, and I know I don't know a lot.
Hmm.
And it's like writing is one of those things that I have to do a lot of research to even write something so simple. And I'm like, I cannot wait until I'm like, well, I can wait, but I can't wait until I'm like 50, like 55, 60 years old, where I'm
Hmm.
just like, yeah, I know this stuff. Like, I'm just, just
Yeah.
giving my wisdom to people, and like 70 years old, giving my wisdom in books and be able to like be creative in that way. But I can just imagine like if you practice your creativity every day,
Hmm.
it just gets greater, like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
older you
Yeah.
get, you know?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. You know, if you even, like you said, look at some of the greats, you know, their writing has changed so much from when they started. And like all of that time between like when they first started to, you know, today, present day, you know, what happened in between that time? You know,
Right.
they writing got stronger, life happened, so they were able to, you know, just write about different things and write it differently. So, you know, I am excited for that part. I just hope, I just pray that I am not lazy. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, you know, I don't want to write 1,500
Right.
now. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, and
Right.
so I hope that I keep that same tenacity to, you know, go in and go hard and, you know, want to publish every couple of months and just kind of, you know, keep that going.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense because it's like one of those things. It's like with writing, you definitely have those days where it's like I don't feel like doing
Yeah.
anything. I
Yeah.
don't feel
Me
like
too.
writing. I don't feel like doing it.
Yep.
And then it's like working out in a way. It's like,
Yeah.
you know,
No, it
if you
really is.
do it, you'll get good results in the long run. But it's
Yep.
like now I don't want to. Like I don't want to open my laptop.
Yeah. And that's what I tell people, you know, writing really is like exercise, and it's like working out that muscle. And, you know, I have to tell myself, you know, I don't want to write now, but I'm going to feel so good after I do it. And it's the same as
Right.
exercise. Like, you don't want
Mhm.
to exercise. Nobody wants to exercise, but, you know, you're going to feel good after you do it. So, you
Right.
know, I really try to just push through it, and also, you know, challenge myself to get faster. So I'm not sitting there, you know, 2, 3, 4 hours writing 1,500 words. Like, I'm going to do what I can do to bust it out, you know,
Mhm.
maybe in an hour, hour and a half, so I can go on about my day, and then just,
Right.
you know, shelve it until the next day.
Do you find when you do that that it's like when you just write, you sit down and you write and you try to do it quickly? do you find that you go back once you're done with your first draft, you go back and you just change a whole bunch of stuff that you wrote, and instead of like just keeping it in there? Because you know, like how sometimes when you are trying to hit that word count
Yeah.
and you're just trying to like you're trying to get there, you might just write stuff, and then
Right.
it's like, okay, well then you go back to it and then like fix it up or like change it completely.
Yeah. I haven't done any major changes. Well, you know what? Yes, I have. With Hey Brown Girl, again, because I pantsed it,
Mhm.
I did major changes and I was like hating every second of it because, you know, that's a hard feeling to know that you have to go back and take out like major sections or like add in something, and it's like, you know, well, this chapter needs more, but what more does it need? Like, I thought it was good. What you mean? You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's so hard to go back and do that. But you know, with 42 minutes and then the other things that I've written, it hasn't been so bad. But again, I think that's because like I've been very diligent about the plotting, and so by the time where it comes to, you know, like my second draft and afterwards, like I'm really kind of at that point in time handing it over to my developmental editor and saying, you know, you look at it, it's your turn. Tag, you're it.
Right. Right. So, and when you right. So this is, I guess, it's on the same topic. Do you find that when you are planning, that when you actually like go sit down and write that chapter, do you find that your characters are telling you to like do certain things, or are you like stuck on the plot that you have already planned for it? Do you like list, or do you have characters in your head that just, you know, tell you, no, this is how it's supposed to be?
They are always talking to me. They are literally in my head, you know. I'm one of those people that, you know, I keep my phone with me at all times. I got a notebook with me at all times. You know, I'm always jotting down different things. Sometimes it's just a word. Sometimes it's a sentence. Like, you know, I was out a couple of weeks ago. I went somewhere. I went to an event with my husband, and this lady had just made a comment, and her comment was, we were, how did it go? We were sitting down at the table, and we were like at an event or something, and there was like a centerpiece, and then on the bottom of the centerpiece, the tag was still on it, like to show how much it cost.
Mhm.
And the lady was like, now you know this is cheap. And I wrote that down because I was like, this is a scene to me. Like, I could build a whole scene around that just because I thought it was funny. And, you know,
Right.
it made me laugh. And it just reminded me of, like, you know, older Black women. Like, oh, this is tacky. Like, so, like, little different things like that. So when I go back to, you know, write, like, I can insert that somewhere. And,
Right.
you know, now that's adding to my story. So,
Right.
so yeah, just definitely, you know, just being, like I said, that type of person who's always, you know, with my mind on the story and
Yes.
inserting things where I can insert it. So like if I'm in, I don't know, like at the end of the book, you know, I'm definitely not going back to like the first couple of chapters and, you know, touching things up. Like at that point, I do just kind of hand it off to my developmental editor. But
Right.
when I'm in the midst of it and I can add in certain little things, then I definitely will.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the things too, like as a writer, is like literally all day you're just thinking about different things, and
Mhm.
then like you see something happening and it's like, oh, that could happen in my story. And then
Yeah,
you like,
yeah.
on my phone I just have the notes app. So I was just like
Yep,
writing on the notes and everything, random stuff that
yep.
just happens, and I'm like, I can definitely put that in my book. But
Right,
yeah,
right.
that's important. It's important to keep a notepad or
Mm-hmm.
on your note app or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, just to make
Yep.
sure that you're like getting those things. And it makes things more realistic too,
It does.
because
It
like
does.
everybody has encountered the, you know, certain people and
Yep.
have been in certain situations where it's like, oh yeah, that's
Mm-hmm. Yep.
that's true. So let's see. All right, so we only have like about 15 minutes left. So would you like to do a game of this or that?
Sure.
All right. So
Let me get
I
ready.
actually, yeah. So this one is pretty much like you probably already did them before, but we can discuss them and everything.
Okay.
So, do you prefer ebooks or hard copies?
Hard copies.
Hard copies, yeah. I would say the same thing too. I like hard copies. The only reason why I would choose an ebook is because of the audio books.
Okay, well, audio is different. I
Yeah.
love audio. I love audiobooks. But I prefer hard copy because I like the way it looks on my bookshelf, and
Yeah.
then I can bring people over and I'll be like, look at all my books and stuff, and
Right.
so I prefer hard copies for that. But
Mhm.
otherwise, I don't even pull for ebooks too much. It's normally always a hard copy or an audiobook.
Right. Yeah, I definitely feel like the audiobooks are like, I love those.
They
And
changed
it's
the
like I'm
game.
starting to, what you said?
They have changed the game.
They have, and it's
Yep.
like they're getting better.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
before they were just okay with, like, they're getting better with the voices, the different voices and everything. It's getting a lot better. Do you prefer? Do you plan to put your books in audiobook if they're not already?
I do. I was gonna put 42 minutes up when I'm finished the series.
Hmm.
So I've been looking at pricing and different things, and just to put a book on with ACX and to make a book into an audiobook is very expensive. That's another piece of the self-publishing thing is paying for that. So I'm just gonna wait until the series is finished, and then I'll have to sell an organ or something and put this book up on for audio because those prices are
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. It's a lot, and that's the
Mhm.
thing with traditionally publishing. Traditional publishing, it looks really good.
Yeah,
It's really good. I'm
it
already
does.
in the
It does.
process of querying to different agents and stuff because I'm like, I want to just focus on writing. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
I don't want to do all this extra stuff. I just want to focus on the
yep,
writing and that's it. Like, and all the money that you put out into
yeah,
it and everything,
yeah.
it's a lot. And that's why,
It is.
yeah, and that's why like with this whole like the Instagram, like with the indie authors and everything, it's like it's important for us to at least support one another, and like
Right.
whether that's doing stuff like this or whether that's buying the books or promoting the books, helping people promote them. It's like every little bit really helps
It
because
does. It
we
does.
put so much money into getting it out that it's like, listen, can you get a little bit of help
Yeah.
here?
And you know what? The tribe, like the book tribe on Bookstagram is so deep.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking, helping promote books and book reviews and like this going live and supporting each other.
Yeah.
Like when I started writing, I felt very much like, I was just on an island. Like I thought, like I didn't really know anybody else that wrote, and I didn't really know anybody else that was an avid reader like I was. And for a long time, like I thought it was like the corny thing. Like I was, like the corny girl reading all the books and, reading. But, with Instagram, it really makes it so accessible for you to find your community and find your tribe.
Yeah.
And that is what I love about it. So that is, a great thing. But of course, traditionally published is always, looming in the background. So
Right.
we'll see.
Right. And that's the thing too. I know the whole thing with like trying to find the people. I thought when I first got on here, I thought that nobody read anymore. I'm like, no one's reading books anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I know I'm probably like the only one who actually reads certain things, and it's like nobody's reading them, but you still want to write because it's like you kind of want to write for yourself. I feel like that
Yeah.
first book that we write is really for us.
Yeah.
Is for
Say that
us.
we
It's
did it.
like,
To say that we could do it.
yeah, and it's like it's something that we would read. So it's
Hmm.
like I think that first book is for us, and I think like the second one, I feel like every book should be for you,
Yeah.
but also that second one you're kind of driven by what
Hmm.
other people are saying too, and like everybody else like and being excited about the book
Right.
actually coming out now. Um, so what's the next? Oh, so would you prefer standalone or series? Do you like standalone, or do you like reading and writing standalones, or do you like reading and writing series more?
I don't know. I don't know. Because I like standalones. I like the finality of it. I like, like you get in one book, that's what it is. And, I finished the story, tidied it all up. But with series, I like how you can unfold things and like really get into the nitty gritty, and really, take your time telling the story. So, I don't know. I have different ideas and different things planned, and some will be standalones and others will be series. Both of these, Hey Brown Girl is going to be a series. So I'm working on, writing something additional for that. And then 42 Minutes, I have my second book for that series is actually coming out January 18th.
Okay.
So yeah, so that one's called Someone More Like Myself. So that one is going to be the sequel to this one.
Okay,
So
congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, so that one comes out January 18th. So it is a series, and then like I said, I have a couple more things planned that some are standalones and some will be series. So we'll see.
Okay. Okay, yeah. I think I would prefer, I like series. I really like series. It's like
Okay.
you get to like know who you're reading about, and like
Yeah.
you kind of get that relationship in those books, and
Yep.
you take them really seriously.
And those are the characters that like haunt me the most. That like, well, now let me sleep. Well, now
Right.
leave me alone. Because I had the opportunity to, bring them back in different ways and unfold the story in different ways. So it is those characters for the series that like be having me up at night and like thinking about things and
Right.
tweaking things. So even if I don't get to something in this book, I still got the next one or even the one after that, or I like mixing it up a little bit.
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Um, I have so many questions, but we're gonna stick to the. I'm gonna have to have you back on here, like
Yes, this was
especially once
fun.
the sequel comes out. I'm definitely gonna
Okay,
have to
okay,
have you back
okay. Yep,
on.
this was fun.
Yes. So let me see. Do you like? I have a lot of questions for this or that. Do you like paperback or hardback?
So I used to like hardbacks. Let me
Mhm.
just say that until I would be reading in bed and it would like face plant on my face and bust me in the face.
Right.
And that for me it used to happen like quite frequently because I read in bed, like I'm always in bed and then I'm always like kind of like this with the book.
Right.
So for right now, I do like paperbacks.
Yeah.
um yeah, and all of my books so far that I've written are paperbacks too. So I know I might start getting into doing some hardbacks as well, just to kind of see what it looks like and if I like it. But for right now, I'm a paperback girl. So because the hardbacks be beating me up.
Yeah. I think hardback, it looks nice. I love
They
hardback books,
do.
but they look nice in the jacket and all that kind of
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
But for me, they're just too expensive. I'm like, if I can get the
Yeah.
paperback
Yeah.
for a few dollars less, I'm gonna do
Yeah.
that.
And you're
I'm
right.
gonna
You're
do
so
that.
right. That's another thing. They're expensive.
Yeah, and just for the hard copy, just for the hardback
Right.
and the
Right.
jacket and stuff. I'm like, I'm not reading that.
Yep.
I'm reading the book. So,
Right.
um, so have you seen American Horror Stories?
I
The
have.
last season?
I haven't seen the last season. I have to get caught up, but I
Okay.
watch it pretty frequently, like all the rest of the seasons.
Okay, so it is. I think it was on a double feature. It was the first part of the double feature season, the
Okay.
10th season or something. I don't know. I'm really confused with how they're making this stuff because I think they like put two seasons out at the same time or like back to back.
Okay.
So the first one to that is I forgot what it's called. It's called Red something, Red Sea or something like that. But it's pretty much about an author. He goes to write. He has writer's block, and he goes to try to write. He goes to I forgot where he went, but he went to some place, and he was introduced to these people. These kind of weird people, but they were like really famous and rich and all this kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And they offered him a black pill to like pretty much get over his writer's block. And the black pill would turn people into he didn't know this at the time. I don't believe he knew it, but it would turn people into pretty much zombies if they
Okay.
were, if they weren't talented. They had no like one inch of talent in them. It would turn them into like flesh eating or blood sucking. That's what blood sucking zombies, pretty much
Okay.
monsters. And but if they did have talent, they would still crave blood. They needed the blood. They would feed off the
Mhm.
blood, and that would feed their talent. So
Okay.
I was watching that episode. I'm like, oh my god, like it was good. But I was wondering because I'm like, this is something that
Hmm.
all of us indie authors or authors period would
Yeah.
probably like questions like, would I take that pill? So would you take the pill if you had the talent? It would make you the richest, most famous author out there,
Yeah.
but you would have to feed off of people's blood.
Off of the untalented people's blood.
No, just people, period.
Just
So
people,
like
period.
you wouldn't eat, you wouldn't, well, yeah, they would pretty much eat them. You wouldn't get the people who weren't talented because they were pretty much just like, you didn't want them. They were
Yeah.
just, ugh, gross. But like you would go for the everyday people who had
Okay.
warm blood running through their veins and everything, and you would want them and eat them, or pretty much eat them. It was stuck in
Yeah.
their blood, but you had to kill them in order to suck their blood.
Okay.
So
Okay.
would you
Um,
do that? Would you take that black pill?
ugh. You know what? I am gonna say no. Only because, I really believe that we all are creative. We all are talented. And I know this is like a safe answer, but it's really not, because I really believe. But I really think like we are all talented and we are all creative. And like, I look at your book and I know that you are going to go places and you're going to do great things and you're going to go far.
Yeah.
I would hope that people would look at me and they would see the same things. And,
Yes.
like I just feel like I wouldn't need to do that, only because like I'm working my behind off. So I know this is going to happen for me anyway. It doesn't
Right.
make sense. Like I
Right.
know that, all the work and all the time and all the energy that I'm putting into this, is going to pay off because I believe it to be. So like, I don't necessarily need to do that. And I would encourage nobody else to do it either. Cause like we all,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
writing, like, and I tell this to everybody, like, writing is a lane for everybody.
Hmm.
Like anybody can write. Like if you have a story, have anything, like a thought, anything, like everybody can be a writer. It just takes consistency and dedication. But
Hmm.
it's definitely a lane for all of us, and it's something that we can all do if we want to.
Right. Right. Yes, I definitely agree with you on that because that's like the one thing I feel that like if people were to take that black pill, or people if it was true and you were able to do something like that, that would literally just be greedy in a way. It's like
Yeah.
you just greedy, you want more than what you really need.
Yeah.
Because I mean, being the best of the best is not necessary.
Right. Right.
Like
Right.
as long as you reach a certain point where you can be known or your books will be known,
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
other stuff is just like extra,
Hmm. Yeah.
So I
And
definitely
being
feel
the
like
best, is so subjective anyway. You know what
right,
I mean? Like, there's writers that I think are the best that other people are like, yeah, they're okay. And,
right,
like we all feel differently about somebody. So you're right. Like I don't know. For me, it wouldn't, I wouldn't see any purpose in it because like, it's going to happen anyway, sis. Like we
right,
doing this, we doing
right,
this.
right. And that's the thing, it takes hard work. That's the main thing. It takes hard
Right.
work
Right.
and consistency and doing what you want to do, what you love to do.
Right.
And all that extra stuff, trying to be the best, trying to overshine everybody else. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then with those people, it's like you see them today, and then tomorrow it's like,
Mm-hmm.
who is
Yeah.
that? How
Yeah.
many authors, not authors, artists, like music artists, are out here that are huge one day, and then like the next month,
Yep.
no one's listening to them. Nobody even knows a song from them.
Right. Right. Right.
It's like that's just I don't know. It is very subjective with the best is because everybody's gonna have a favorite, and somebody's favorite might not be another person's favorite. So
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so this was a lot of fun.
This was
Thank you
fun. Thank you.
for
Thank
doing this
you.
with me. You are beautiful.
You are beautiful. No, this was fun. This was fun. Like these types of things like always make me nervous, but like I'm forcing myself out of my comfort zone and getting more comfortable talking about my writing and the process. And I just like encourage people to, stick with me. This is definitely a journey.
Right.
And I plan to publish at least every 6 months or twice a year, depending on, how things go. And so we'll see. So, but thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. So, yes, I'll probably be reaching out to you soon.
Okay.
With that, you said January
Yep, January 18th.
18th. Okay.
Yep.
So, yes, I'll be reaching out to you so we can do another live and everything. You can
All right.
promote your current book.
Okay. All right.
All
Great.
right. All right. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Thank y'all for
Bye. See
joining
ya.
in.
See ya.
And yeah, I'll see y'all next week. I forgot who I'm doing next week, but I'll see y'all next week. All
Okay.
right. Have a good one
You
today.
too. See ya.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.